Now, usually I don't do this.
How did you take that, Keith? I know you're gunning for him. Not
Yeah, I know.
so how did you take
Yeah.
that?
It was highly disrespectful.
If you clicked on this video, you already know about the YG song Tiffany, in which he lyrically depicts a situation where a thug named Chris unknowingly goes home with a trans woman named Tiffany and the violent results of it. If you haven't, you should probably go listen, then come back. All I've seen thus far is videos explaining why this song is a problem. Though I fully agree with most of the takes I've seen, I've yet to see anyone play devil's advocate. So, in light of this recent clip of him on The Breakfast Club, I decided I'd go ahead, collect my thoughts, and take a stab at it. First of all, I want to preface this by stating the obvious. If you want to hear a valid response to this song, you should go see a trans creator's opinion. Cat Blaque had a great video I watched when it dropped, and I'll put the link to her video in the description. They are not a monolith, and there might be trans women that are completely fine with the song. There might even be a few that share the sentiment within my contrarian head-ass attempt to see another side of this thing. Also, the plot of this song where a trans woman goes home with this assumed gangster without telling him that she's trans, probably not happening a lot. I'm just gonna say it. Let's be real, that's a risk most are probably not gonna take, but we ain't finna act like it never happens either. Also, I wanna be clear that I'm gonna be talking about Black trans women, the Black trans women community, not just trans women in general, not just trans in general. I'm talking about Black trans women specifically because that's the character in this song. Tiffany, she's a Black trans woman. So we're gonna be specific here. Okay, now that that's out the way, let's hear what YG has to say about why he made this song.
Felt like it was reinforcing harmful stereotypes about transgender.
One of the first songs I put out from this whole era is called 2004. And the song start and it's like, when I was young, I got raped by a bitch twice my age, you know what I'm saying? So I put that song out first to like kind of like let people know like I'm on that, right? So when I was making this album, like in the studio and shit, we had like sessions with like homies and like we all talk about like shit that we never like talked about. Like everybody was saying like, yeah, bro, this happening. Why? You feel me? I had my shit. You feel me? Homies like, I ain't even know. Like, you ain't never talked about that. You feel me? Half the homies like, yeah, that same shit happened to me. Oh no, you know, like one of the homies, like he told his story and it was like hard for him to like really like tell it. And then you feel me? He told it and like damn. And he was like, yeah, bro, like if you can find a way to like rap about this, I think you should do it. And I'm just like, yeah, like it's a situation that like happens in our community. People don't know how to talk about it. People scared to talk about it, you know. And then when it comes to like artists and making music or just speaking about certain things, people are scared. You know what I'm saying? Because people like, oh, I don't want to get canceled or whatever, right?
You just gotta tell the story though.
You gotta tell the story. Yeah, the truth is the truth. I'm an artist. I'm storytelling. You know what I'm saying? And it's a real situation that like happens, you know. And I'm like, well, let me put the record out. Why I was like, all right, yeah, I'm cool with this, is because I ended up telling both sides. You feel me? Just as a human, I'm like, all right, if I write this record, listen to this record, and it sound how it sound, and then at the end you got both sides of the story. I'm like, people are like understand that and appreciate that and look at it like, no, this art, like, you know what I'm saying? It's real, like this art.
There's a few things I want to cover here to point out some key components that I think may fly under the radar when assessing a piece of art like this. First thing is understanding the cultural environment within which a mindset like this is nurtured. I'm gonna skip the whole patriarchy bad spiel. We all know that's the foundational issue with Chris's perspective, followed closely by misogyny, then add on top of that homophobia. What I don't believe is as obvious is the reason why MyG might have been compelled to take a risk like this. Nobody is mentioning that in a world where YG comes from, your reputation is everything, for better and for worse. It can literally be the difference between life and death. It can literally be the difference between have and have not. In a world like this, one must keep their name intact. Now, you could argue that having associated with a trans woman shouldn't be a shot to a man's rep in the first place, but we all know that's how it is. This is the place where a song like this comes from. Even outside of gang and hood life, this still can be the case. If you don't believe me, all you gotta do is look at Chingy. 23 years ago, the rapper Chingy's rise was not. 23 years ago, the rapper Chingy's rise to fame was nothing short of meteoric. He seemed to come out of nowhere with a 2-time platinum selling album rolling out with the lead single, Right There, in case you forgot or wasn't born yet. He had infectious songs that you couldn't get away from, like Holiday Inn and One Call Away featuring Jason Weaver, aka Jay Weave, aka Lil Michael Jackson in the teleseries The Jackson's American Dream, aka Young Simba's singing voice in the original Lion King. Nigga's a legend to me. Had to give you a little bit of his resume right quick in case you missed it or in case you weren't familiar. My bad. Chingy. After that, he released the second platinum selling album the next year. He had Lil Wayne, Janet Jackson, R. Kelly, and more on the album. I remember he had a song in the Need for Speed video game, and during research, I found out he was even in an episode of George Lopez show, the George Lopez show, as himself for some reason. 2006, he dropped an album with another played everywhere ass song. This one was Tyrese Pulling Me Back. This album didn't fare as well commercially, but still sold gold. And it still had top producers like Timbo, Scott Storch, Cool and Dre, and also had big name features. In 2009, while working on his 5th album, he reportedly takes a picture with a random fan. That fan turned out to be now famous adult film star Sydney Starr. She posted the pic online, claiming that they had been physically involved on multiple occasions, and that was the last time I heard about Chingy until recently. He was basically blacklisted in the industry in the middle of negotiating a deal with Interscope, and he apparently released an album in 2010, but I didn't hear about it. Years later, she admitted the whole thing was a lie, but it was too late. This type of reaction from the world in this situation is the thing that struck me while trying to see it from YG's homeboy's point of view. It's obviously not as harmful as it once was, but for certain people in certain environments, a nigga could still lose everything for being associated with a trans woman in that way. Surely more harm comes to black trans women though, so there's that. Sometimes we get on Beyonce's internet with these preconceived notions of who we think an artist is because of their art. Then we give our opinions that are informed in one way, yet uninformed in another. It can be counterproductive, and I feel like we can do better if we just engage with niggas directly. Whether that be with niggas in your personal life or niggas online. In the case of YG, I think he should go on a few different types of platforms just to get his true purpose for the song out there and defend himself in person. I think he should answer questions about this song from a few other demographics of people, like maybe a black trans woman creator could interview him. That would probably be dope. I do, however, want to give him credit for what I'm gonna call a progressive move. I mean, who the fuck else that's big is rapping about trans panic? That is, by definition, progressive. He didn't do it how you like, but he did it. Does he not deserve credit for that? Now we're all talking about it. Does that not sensitize niggas to the conversation to then be able to have the conversations that need to be had in order to eradicate the homophobia for good? Like, is this not a step in the right direction at least? These are all questions you can answer in the comments, by the way. You know my answer. Last thing, and then I'm gonna do like Lupe and land the plane. YG actually tried to give the perspective of the trans woman in the 3rd verse.
I ended up telling both sides.
Was it flawed? Yes, flawed as fuck. Maybe he should have consulted with a member of the community to see what they'd say. Maybe they would have told him what they would have said in this situation. Maybe they would have told him that this situation is so unlikely, he probably shouldn't do the song. I don't know if there's a right way to do this song. At the end of the day, it is art, and art is from the perspective of the artist. That's kind of the point, right? Like, we're either listening because we share a point of view, or we're listening to sonically experience a different point of view than ours. However clumsily he may have done it, he attempted to give the black trans woman that is often silenced, ridiculed, and disregarded a voice. 2 things specifically I wanted to point out in the lyrics. Toward the end of the 2nd verse, he says,
put in a clip, cocked and heard the click, pointed to her face and everything switched. He like, man, I can't do this to a bitch.
My interpretation of this line, he like, I can't do this to a bitch, is that Chris in this moment is now seeing Tiffany as a woman. In the beginning of the verse, YG is calling Tiffany he. He said he fucked up his jaw. Middle of the verse, he says Tiffany is acting like a hoe. But by the end of the verse, he's saying, pointed to her face, and I can't do this to a bitch. In this verse, in this moment, he's making this monstrous ass, unreasonable, volatile individual see this trans woman as a woman. Okay, editing room Rob here. I just want to interrupt for a quick second to say a few things. One, I did forget this obvious point that in this situation, it should not have taken Chris to commit this horrendous act on Tiffany for him to see her as a woman. Obviously, that's another thing that I should have put in the obvious section there. But I know there's probably going to be some people in the comments to say that, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it for you. It should not have taken this in order for Chris to see Tiffany as a woman. That is true. Also, this video is not sponsored by Tyson Ranch. This is just a high quality hoodie, and the one that I chose to wear in this particular video for no reason. This is not sponsored. This video is not sponsored. If it's sponsored by anybody, it's sponsored by me, because I literally do everything for these videos. I feel like YG might have thought a lot about this before he did it, and he might have considered the potential benefits from putting a piece of art like this out, but I don't think he thought enough about the potential harms. With that being said, back to the video. Chris is in this moment referring to Tiffany as a woman. Why is nobody saying this? You can say that it's a reach, but that's what it looks like to me. For those who just refuse to listen to it, at the end of the song, he does leave it open-ended. Like, you don't know whether Chris killed Tiffany or let her go. Is that the artistic choice I would have made? No. But this is YG's story. Not mine, not yours. The song itself, as a whole, production is hard. The beat change is dope. The flow is solid and even a little adventurous at times for YG. The story is captivating. I was on the edge of my goddamn seat listening to that song. It's a good song. Not even for YG. It's a legit, well-composed song. I'd even go further to predict that one day we'll see this song in the same vein as Auntie Diaries by Kendrick Lamar and 1-800 by Logic. I just must commend YG one more time for making the song so that we can have the conversation. How else do we move forward without the conversation? Till the next time.
You know, it was highly disrespectful.